Okay, hello. Today I'm going to talk about Zhenhailou. It is the Zhenhailou of Guangzhou, not the Zhenhailou of Fujian. It is a very famous building, or you could say tower, in some sense. And I would like to briefly introduce Zhenhailou first, its history and development. And I would also like to analyze its status as well as some of its characteristics. I would also like to share my thoughts about the attractiveness of Zhenhai building. Firstly, I would like to briefly introduce Zhenhailou. Zhenhailou was first completed in the Ming Dynasty in 1380. It was one of the constructions after the governor of that time decided to expand Guangzhou city. It was 25 meters in height, 31 meters in length, and 16 meters in width. It is situated in one of the high points of then Guangzhou city, which is the Yuecong mountain. Yuecong mountain also has a lot of other big famous sceneries of Guangzhou, like the 5 gold statues. The Zhenhai building has a long history and it was destroyed and rebuilt 5 times. The last time it was rebuilt was in 1928 in the Mingguo period. Its main structure was changed from wood into concrete inside. However, it has also preserved the characteristics of the original Zhenhailou. It could watch over the Pearl River before the city was developed along the river bank. So, unfortunately now, you cannot see the Pearl River from Zhenhailou. But in the Ming Dynasty and in the Qing Dynasty, you can watch over the river and also watch over the sea, because Pearl River is going to the sea in Guangzhou city. It was the Museum of Guangzhou since 1928. And I would like to introduce the status and characteristics of Zhenhai building. It is one of the 9 most famous buildings in China. A lot of people may know other famous buildings like Huanghelou or Yuecong, but Zhenhailou is one of those ignored famous buildings in China. It is also one of the very young famous buildings in the 9 most famous buildings. It is also one of the 8 best sceneries in Guangzhou, along with the 5 gold statues. One of the characteristics of Zhenhailou is that it was the best preserved ancient Chinese building in Guangzhou. There are a lot of other ancient buildings like the Liurong Temple. However, because it was destroyed and rebuilt, especially rebuilt after the invasion of Japanese, many of these ancient buildings was completely destroyed and had to be rebuilt completely, so it may not preserve as well as before. The building was built not only with bricks as some of the traditional Chinese buildings. It was built with stones in the bottom and bricks on the top, with different kinds of colors. The stones were built with red stones, a typical type of building material in Lingnan area, which is somewhat the southeast China or southeast Guangdong province. It was decorated by fish pattern and painted with paints used in potteries. These are famous decorations and also famous materials that are typically used in the Lingnan culture, especially the fish pattern. This is because Lingnan is an area which is very affiliated to the sea or river. Ancient Lingnan people, which are called which are now the Cantonese, will really much depend on fishery to support their living, as well as to trade with other parts of China. The most significant characteristics, I would say, for Zhenhailou is that it's like tower, like building. From the top, from the one side, you can see it. You cannot see its of this characteristics. You can see it's maybe just simply a big building. However, if you see the another side of the building, you can see very clearly that the top of each building will be smaller than the bottom of the building. This This is mainly due to it's constructed on a mountain, which means that it is not as stable as it's constructed on the plain land as many other buildings are. And also it can preserve materials because at that time Guangzhou is not as advanced as now, so the economic is not so good. So architectures must use limited materials to build such a tower. I would also like to analyze the attractiveness of Zhenhailou. First, the most obvious characteristics is that it's like tower, like building, as I have just analyzed. Also, it's a good perseverance of Lingnan culture. Another important thing of Zhenhailou is combination of modern and ancient. Because it's modern because it uses concrete instead of the traditional wood or stones inside its structure. However, it still preserves the ancient lookings as well as most of the ancient characteristics. And last but not least, it is a good example of a reasonable use of cultural relics. Because Guangzhou government has used it as a museum, it not only preserves its functions, or it also preserves the building itself. And thank you for watching.